IOM Radio Network, the world's conscious broadcasting network. Live on iTunes and archived on iHeartRadio, the voice of consciousness. And now, join Shay Parker's Best of the Best, offering celebrity guests, lively discussions, hot topics, free psychic readings, and expert guest hosts. Simply the best in spiritual and metaphysical talk radio. Listen live on your phone or device using our universal mobile player. No app needed. Shay Parker's Best of the Best. Find out more at bestamericanpsychics.com.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Let's Get Metaphysical. Let me hear your body, mind, and soul talk. My name is Mary O'Malley, and I'm your host tonight on Shay Parker's Best of the Best and OMTimes Radio. I am a psychic, a medium, a hypnotherapist, energy healer, author, and teacher of most of those. You can find me at www.maryomaley.com. That's MARYOMALEY.com, and on Facebook at Mary O'Malley Psychic Medium. Don't forget to put the psychic medium part or you'll be on the wrong page. And of course you can find me on Shay Parker's Best American Psychics and Best American Healers. In fact, if your computer is handy, I invite you to join me on the Facebook page. I'd love your comments and questions about the show. If you're listening to the archive, still feel free to put questions on the Facebook page, and I will connect you with our guest or maybe just be able to answer your questions myself. I want to say happy holidays to all of you, no matter what you're celebrating. I know that it can be just as stressful as it can be joyful at this time of year. So from the bottom of my heart, I wish you all peace and love coming up. And stay warm. I understand it's pretty cold out there in different parts of the country. And I'm calling from Los Angeles, so it's down to the high 50s here, and we're freezing to death. So interested to hear, how warm it is where you are. I want to let you know that right now, if you're looking for a one-of-a-kind gift for someone that is metaphysically inclined, be sure to look at the gift certificates that I offer on my webpage. You can find them under the Make Appointment tab at the top of the website, and they currently have a $25 gift certificate. That's for a quickie reading, and that should be a lot of fun. So if you're looking for something one-of-a-kind, there you go. Be sure to join me next month. My guest will be Kathy Beal. She is a fabulous astrologer, and she's promised to have some words of wisdom for all of us for the upcoming year. So that should be a really cool show also. The thrust behind this show is how to work with anyone in the metaphysical, holistic, or alternative therapy industry. Over the years, I have found people being very frustrated, spending ungodly amounts of money because they don't have realistic expectations about the industry. And, of course, we hear about all the miracles that happen, but nobody really tells you how that happens or what to expect or what your part is in the program. So that's a lot of what this program is about. And through doing that, I get to introduce you to some fabulous therapists in the industry, psychics, mediums, astrologers. Tonight, I'll be introducing you to a Doctor of Acupuncture and Oriental Medicine. So all kinds of different things going on here. Let's see. We want you educated. I think that's the most important thing to having the best experience possible. So to that end, I would like to introduce my guest this evening, Atsuki Maeda, which I probably messed up his name, so sorry, is a Doctor of Acupuncture and Oriental Medicine who's licensed in Japan and in California. He's been practicing for over 30 years and teaches in master's and doctoral programs in Santa Monica and also teaches internationally to other licensed acupuncturists. He has a practice here in Torrance, California, with many specialties, such as gentle and painless Japanese-style acupuncture, I like painless. That sounds wonderful. He works with stroke and dementia and traumatic brain injuries. He also sees patients with regular conditions and symptoms, as well as, and we'll be talking about some of this tonight, psycho-emotional and spiritual issues. And so he'll be talking about that aspect of his work tonight, which I think is very interesting. Dr. Maida, would you like to say hi to the folks?
Good evening, everybody, and thank you, Mary, so much for having me on your show tonight. And so I was so looking forward to this.
Well, we talked about it a little while ago, and I'm really happy to have you on, especially since you are a teacher of this practice. You can really give us some good ideas on what to expect, how it works, what it works for, all those kind of things that people have questions about. I think most people have heard that acupuncture is effective for many diseases and conditions, all kinds of pain, digestive orders, high blood pressure, diabetes, menstrual problems, infertility, and other things. And I'll have some specific questions about that tonight. But you and I have talked before about acupuncture being helpful for spiritual growth, and I'm sure all of us can't wait to hear that. But first, I'd like to start with, can you kind of take us through a session? What is that? How does it start? What happens next? How do you finish? What's it like having an acupuncture section?
Okay. I'll do my best to explain about acupuncture. As you said, everybody knows about acupuncture nowadays, but in this United States and in Western countries, it's something still new, and many people have no idea what kind of experience you're going to have when you actually visit the acupuncturist. So I like to explain that in my best ability to it. So visiting an acupuncturist and having an acupuncture session is just like you visit the doctor's office. So you go to office and you fill out the initial forms, intake forms. They take you in the room, and then they will ask you many questions focused on your chief concern, what is bothering you the most, and then we will do appropriate test. It won't be like, this is not a Western medicine, so this is an Eastern medicine. So we do not draw blood or take urine samples or take X-rays or MRI. We do more of a physical, it's more of a manual therapy and physical medicine. So suppose you come in for the frozen shoulder, we will move your shoulder and arm and then measure the range of motion or any test, like an orthopedic test, if they're positive or negative. So we do that kind of test. The biggest difference between the acupuncture visit in the doctor's office is that we spend much more time with patients. We really listen to patient, and then we spend longer time together getting to know each other and getting down to know the patient. We look at the patients as a person. Now we don't just treat the diseases. We treat the whole person. So in order to do that, we go into conversation like something in regards to symptoms, all the way to your life pattern. What is your everyday life pattern or your diet pattern? Then you will lie on the table, and we will use only the disposable needle. The needle only goes once into the body, and the needle goes to the acupuncture points that has certain function. Then that will create a change in energetic dynamics in our body, and that will trigger your body to heal in a correct way. So our body all have the self-healing energy. So acupuncture stimulation will enhance that. Then we bring into the balance. Whatever goes out of balance needs to be back in balance. That's the main purpose of acupuncture. And once the needle is in, you will lie down and then rest with nice music playing, and it's like a spa kind of experience most of the time. And at least at my office, it's very relaxing. You will listen to nice music, relaxing music, and you'll be with the needle for about 20 minutes. Then I come back in and take the needle out, and then that will be the end of the treatment. And you usually receive the treatment in regular basis for a certain time, depending on the severity of the condition or any type of the condition, symptoms, or diseases that we are dealing with. So that's about the process.
So they could maybe see you once, or depending on the situation, they might need to see you 3, 5, 10 times. Is that pretty much what to expect, or?
Yes. Suppose suppose someone just lifted something heavy and then end up by having acute low back pain, and then they came to see me, and one treatment, and that may be it. All the pain may be gone completely, and then patients don't need to come back anymore. But if you're treating for some kind of chronic disease or chronic condition or psycho-emotional or spiritual matter, you would be coming in regular basis for certain lengths of time.
Cool. Yeah, I know. I've talked to people who say, well, I went once. And I'm like, well, you have the problem for 15 years. Maybe you need to go again, you know. You know, that's what the doctor would have you back too, you know. So I want people to understand it. It really depends. And I know in holistic healing, we know that we heal from the inside out, right? So
yes.
The healing is deep and fairly complete. So it sounds like we're going to break right now. So if you can hang with us for a couple more minutes, we're going to have a great interview here, and we'll be back.
The best of the holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. OMTimes Radio, IOM FM.
Have you wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake.
Hello! Join us, Lisa Berry and Michelle Carter, every Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time for the Mindset Makeover, What's Possible. Get ready to become present, clear, and unstuck, and start living fully, led by your heart. While you listen and feel this transformation through vibration of word, sound, and song, you'll open up to what's possible and experience your shift.
Hi, this is Shay Parker, founder of BestAmericanPsychics.com. If you are a professional psychic or medium and are looking for a group of like-minded individuals that are truly supportive of one another, Best American Psychics is the place for you. Or if you're not a psychic but you're in need of guidance regarding love, money, career, and more, please visit our directory. Each psychic is double tested and approved for accuracy, professionalism, ethics, and more. BestAmericanPsychics.com, a new league of professional psychics.
So, I'm a dog, and I'm kind of new to this family, but I've noticed a trend. My humans do this thing where they go around and get all my toys and hide them in this basket, but it's always the same basket, and it's always the same place, and then they act so surprised when I find them, but I'm like, hello, that's where you put it last time. Humans are the worst at hide and go seek.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
Hi, and welcome back. Atsuki, I have had a couple of people ask me questions, specific questions for you. The first one is, does it work for insomnia?
It works very well to the insomnia. I actually have a patient who's coming for insomnia. And insomnia is very much treatable with acupuncture and maybe a combination of the herbal medicine. Many patients here in the United States easily take a sleeping pill, which is not really recommended. It's not really good for the body. And with the acupuncture, it helps to calm your mind. Acupuncture itself has a strong tranquilizing function. So by receiving acupuncture and also using the point that has a function of calming the spirit, we use the Chinese term called Shen. Shen, we write as a god, means spirit and mind in Western language. So calming the Shen is a function that we seek for with the acupuncture treatment. We have several strong points that have that function to calm your mind, calm your Shen. And by receiving those kind of treatment in repetition, will may create the habit in your body that your body is now easier than before to relax and calm yourself. Therefore, as a result, it will make you easier to fall asleep and staying asleep.
Wonderful. Now, how about asthma? Does it work well for asthma?
Yes, it does. I don't want you to think that the acupuncture works for everything. Acupuncture works great for asthma. Either if you are genetic that some children are born with, it can be a chronic asthma or it can be acute asthma. We have two ways of approaching when the patient is having the actual asthma attack or between the attacks. Between the attacks is the best time to treat a constitutional issue that leads to the asthma. So we will rebuild the constitution, change the constitutions to build the body that is no longer will have the asthma attack.
Wow, great, thank you. Those are the two questions that came up. What is your style of acupuncture? What is your style? Tell us about that.
My approach is very, very gentle, and the needling is painless. And actually, that's what I teach at school. And, of course, that's what I practice. I use the Japanese-style needling and the very fine needle. The needle diameter is about 0.12 millimeters. That's like a very fine, thin hair, same as the thin hair. And maybe 10 or 20 of that needle will go into the inside of the one injection needle. That's how fine the needle is. And most of the time, the patient will not feel the needle, so they can relax. And my approach is the patient-oriented practice. What it means is many doctors who like to do what they think the patient is good for the patient, but actually through my approach of the practice is to use a lot of palpation. So I will palpate the points in the body, and the body actually has a language to speak to. And then if I listen to that carefully, I can figure out what the body really wants. So I set myself aside and I listen to the body, I listen to the patient, and try to provide what patient needs and wants to get better. So that is my style of acupuncture. Wow.
I'm so glad to hear that. It's not just a mechanical thing, that you're actually having a conversation with the body. That makes a lot of sense, because
yes.
I know in my energy work, it's the same thing. The body will tell me where the problem is, and then working in conjunction with spirit, to start moving that energy. So that totally makes sense. Now, we talked about some of the physical things that you do with acupuncture, but it's also effective for psycho-emotional issues?
Yes, very much so.
So what kind of issues? Like if somebody's suffering from anxiety or, something like that? Are you there? So you may want, Atsuki, you may want to call us from a different phone because we've lost you there.
Okay.
Oh, there you are. Okay. So we'll be talking more to Atsuki. Okay, have him call back in. I know I've had several conversations with him about the spiritual aspect of it and the emotional aspect, so we really want to hear about that. You don't think? Okay, great. So, Atsuki, are you
Hello?
there?
Yeah,
Hi.
I'm here.
Oh, good.
Sorry, something went wrong with the phone.
You were about to tell us about the psychological, emotional issues that we can work with acupuncture.
Right. So in Oriental medicine, we see and treat patients as a whole person, not as a body or not as a disease. So we not only treat the physical plane, but the psychological and emotional plane. And so acupuncture itself is an energy medicine. What it means is that we try to sense the blockage of the energy. The blockage of energy can be many things. The emotion is the energy. So whenever someone is struggling with certain emotion, someone is stuck with a certain feelings and emotion which does not serve them any longer, that can be sensed as a blockage of energy. Since the acupuncture is an energy medicine, and by needling, it triggers and regulate the flow of the energy, what we so-called ki or chi in Chinese and Japanese, or prana in Indian Ayurvedic. We try to regulate the blockage, and whenever whenever there's a stagnation, that will create something unwanted. There's a saying that primordial cause of disease is forgetting our true nature as a spirit. This says that if we are disconnected from our spirit or soul or our higher self, it manifests as a physical and psychological disorders. So I see these days someone is coming for a stomach pain, digestive issue. Usually when someone who has a tendency to hold the emotion, too much stress, and then not able to express themselves or speak it out or release those unneeded feelings, it gets really stuck in the solar plexus area, which is the stomach area. And that will manifest as a hardening in the abdominal region, or it can also create a pain or heartburn, acid regurgitation, bloating after you eat. And patients often come for those physical matter, but by talking, often I find out it was actually caused by the psycho-emotional issue. Then I will shift my approach of acupuncture to from the physical to non-physical. Acupuncture works great to the energetic body, and then I carefully choose the points that tweaks and then rebalance the energetic flow in the body to regulate the energy that affects the emotion and feelings. Did that answer your question?
Yes.
Good.
Beautifully. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You. Yeah. Kind of waiting for the music to come up right here. So that was awesome. Yeah, that's any of you out there that are familiar with holistic health and treating the whole person understands what that means. And those of you that are new to this, maybe this is the first time you've heard about the emotions or traumas or things like that that are really emotional expressing as a physical symptom. So it's really nice to work with somebody who's paying attention to you as the whole person, because the healing is just, it's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing.
Exactly. The healing has to come from the inside.
Yeah, from the inside out and from the top down is what I hear.
Yes, exactly.
You know, we've talked about acupuncture for spiritual issues, and in fact, you know, if you don't mind me saying, in a psychic reading, Spirit was pointing out certain chakra points and things like that you were going to be working with more and more. How do chakras kind of fall into the work? Is that something that is paid attention to in Chinese medicine, or just is part of the overall healing system?
Well, the chakra system is from Eastern India, as you know. So it is not based on Chinese medicine. In Chinese medicine, we do have the energy pathway or meridians. And we do have three main centers called Dantian. We have three Dantians. Upper Dantian is at the third chakra, third eye chakras. And then the middle Dantian is at the heart chakra. And the lower Dantian is at the sacral chakra. And we do have the meridian goes on the front, the anterior midline and posterior midline, which goes in Ayurvedic medicine, they call nadis. Nadis, they have 72,000 nadis, many more than the Chinese acupuncture medicine. But the idea is the same. Within the nadis, the energy called prana flows, and they maintain the healthy function of the all 7 major chakras and 21 minor chakras. Just like that, the acupuncture has many meridians, 14 main meridians, and the energy called qi or qi flows to maintain all the 3 dantian and all the organs and everything. So in TCM, we do not use the word chakra, but I am also an energy healer, and there are many common things that I use in my practice. I call it celestial acupuncture. The acupuncture uses acupuncture points. Let's hear the music.
Go ahead.
So, go ahead. And that has a specific function that...
Well, I guess we'll finish this conversation in just a moment. Thank you.
Okay.
The best of holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Spiritual, metaphysical, green living, psychic, alternative healing, life coaching. Do any of these or similar terms apply to your business or cause? If so, you are in a niche market with a very specific audience. Conscious Gate PR is the world's leading conscious public relations agency. With a global reach of over 4 million and growing, we offer comprehensive media campaigns to our targeted market. Learn more at ConsciousGatesPR.com. Conscious marketing for conscious minds.
Hi, this is Vicki Snyder, the Everyday Mystic Angel. What's that, you ask? Well, it's an angel with a down-to-earth edge. And you can catch me live every 4th Tuesday from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on The Best of the Best. Learn more about me and my services at www.vickysnyder.com. That's VICKISNYDER.
I wasn't prepared to be a caregiver to Mom. I had no idea how hard it would be and what I would need to know. Things I never thought of, like how to improve her mood and ways for me to stay positive. Luckily, I found the Caregiving Resource Center from AARP. It had articles about the basics, but also information about the hurdles I was facing. Caregiving Resource Center at aarp.org/caregiving. Articles, tips, and tools to help you both care for your loved one and care for yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
And we're back. And you were telling us about celestial acupuncture. You want to go over that again?
Yes. If I may explain what it is. So celestial acupuncture, actually, this works with is to rebalance the balance of mind, body, and spirit, and the soul. So this is something that evolved as I have been practicing not only acupuncture, but practicing meditation, daily meditation. And then I have myself has opened up to more of the spiritual realm. And I work with you, Mary. So, and then listen to what my spirit guides tells me, or what I'm really supposed to be doing. And my spiritual evolution and spiritual opening have led me to start doing this celestial acupuncture. What it is that I work with my spirit guides through me and through my patient, and work with the patient's spirit guides. So energetically, I use my hands to sense the blockage of the patients by scanning with my hand the entire body, and then I will sense the blockage. And I can kind of get the what kind of feelings and emotions that patients are suffering with, and then we will incorporate that into our intake. And then receiving guidance from the patient's spirit guides as well as my spirit guides. And I work with guides, spirits, and sometimes angels to select the point and create a certain stimulation that this patient needs in order for these patients to enhance their spiritual growth. We are all born to this, born and then incarnated with a certain theme of this life, with a soul mission or spiritual contract. And then if we are not doing what we are supposed to be doing, or if our true heart desire is not being able to manifest it, we will all struggle. And we will all struggle with the spiritual growth. And everybody needs a little tap on the shoulder or a little push on the back to enhance that growth. And that's what this celestial acupuncture provides patients. I shouldn't be calling patients maybe clients, because they're not sick in a way. So this acupuncture helps to one's spiritual growth in such way. Does that make sense to you?
Yes. Yeah, even in my work, well, obviously in the psychic and the mediumship work, but also in the hypnotherapy, I know that I'm also tuning into their spirit guides because sometimes if the session bogs down or whatever, I will suddenly get a word or a question that I need to ask, and it's just exactly right all the time. And I did an emotional freedom technique with a client on Saturday. Same thing, words were coming out of my mouth, and she wasn't thinking along those terms, but the moment I said the word, she's like, "Oh, you're good," And that didn't come from me. That came from the spiritual guidance.
Right, exactly.
That we brought in for the healing sessions. So I understand what you're saying, and all of you out there, as any of us working in this business are receiving information from your body, your spirit guides, our spirit guides. We have a lot of people talking to us all at once.
Yes, that's exactly the experience that I'm having. And it's just like I'm not really talking, or I'm not really the one who's asking the question, but always the right question comes out. And the patient didn't come for it, but then suddenly a clients are bursting in tears, and a patient says, well, that's actually what's really, really bothering me right now. And then I say, I know that, and then that's something that I can help with acupuncture. And actually, it's wonderful to see clients opening up, and then their energy is going smooth. They feel very light. Their body feels very light, emotionally bright, and then lift up. And then they leave my office with such a big smile. And then by repeating the treatment, I see the evolution of the clients, being more true to themselves and then closer to their higher self, grounded and centered. And that helps me to be grounded and centered too. And so it's a really a rewarding work that I'm doing, and it's a win-win situation for both me and for the clients. So that I find it very beautiful.
Me too. This work, and especially when you're reaching into the spiritual realms to help with the work, is just it's incredible. It's awe-inspiring and humbling, and you're right. It's grounding, and it's just really a wonderful experience. So, can you tell us, excuse me, about? Do you have a special story, healing story that you can share that kind of demonstrates the typical types of results that you see from your practice?
Well, I have so many to tell, but let's see. Okay, I had this male patient who had unknown abdominal pain in the right hip joint pain. So he's been to all the Western doctors, orthopedic, internist, and GI specialists and everything. No one found any abnormality. So he was desperate. And he was recommended to have a total hip replacement at the age 34, which is unusual. But he did get it. And the hip pain was a little bit minimized somehow, but his gastrointestinal pain got worse. And there's no explanation in Western medicine that there's no relationship between the hip joint and any nervous or the function of the intestines. But in meridian therapy, I mean the Oriental medicine, the meridian is the energetic pathway, as I've been talking about tonight, that there is a connection. But more than that, when I first saw him, he was sitting on a chair in agony from the pain. He couldn't even lie on the treatment table. So I went to meet him and then said hello, and I kneeled down and started talking to him. But first what I did was I took his pulse. Suddenly, boom, I feel extreme sadness and anger came to me, and I'm a little clairsentient, so I do feel someone else's emotions and feelings. And then when I felt the sadness and anger in me, I immediately knew, no, this is not my feeling. This is coming from someone else, and this is coming from this man that I'm talking to. So the next question was, what are you so angry about? And he was so surprised to be asked that question, because usually when you go to see a doctor with the abdominal pain, the question will be, where does it hurt? But I asked him, what are you angry about? And he was surprised, and he said, people. And okay, so what makes you, what of the people make you angry? And he said, well, he is a personal trainer, so he makes appointment with people. And he cannot stand that the people being late or does not show up to the appointment or something like that. And he finds it very rude and inappropriate and in lack of responsibility, and that makes him very angry. So, okay, and then I started talking, and then I was asking my spirit guides, okay, what's the really root of this anger? And then my next question was, what kind of childhood life did you have? What was your relationship with parents? And he has been through mainly emotional abuse and some physical abuse by his father. That was very rooted in his childhood. And he was holding those anger, and then he had unmet emotional needs while he was a children. He couldn't receive enough love to grow up with. So that was really stagnant, created stagnation, energy of stagnant energy from the long years, the experience of unsolved and unmet needs. So I started scanning, and then there are solar plexus, sacral chakra. Those two had the major closure, and it had almost no energy. So I started needling, try to open up those chakras, and also dispersing the stagnant energy from the local painful area. And then he was like a different man when he left. He was smiling, and he was able to lie on his back. He was so happy, and then he actually shook my hand and gave me a big hug. And then he repeatedly came for about 3 months, and he was free from that unknown pain. And all his doctors were wondering and cannot believe what has happened. So that's one of the stories that I have experienced and observed.
That's a heck of a story. That's what we want to hear about. Okay, we'll be back with Atsuki in just a moment, folks. Wow, that's really cool.
Connecting you with the best of the conscious minds in the world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
The number one reason girls drop out of school in sub-Saharan Africa is lack of access to feminine hygiene products. The Pads for Schoolgirls project, an outreach of Humanity Healing International, is changing this paradigm by setting up sewing programs at schools, teaching girls a vocational skill, while producing the reusable pads that help keep them attending classes. The girls pay it forward by making and giving pad kits to other girls in need. To learn more, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
My name is Victor Furman. Some call me the Voice. I've always been fascinated with human nature, spirituality, science, and the crossroads at which they meet. Join me Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio, and we'll explore these topics and so much more on Destination Unlimited.
I'm Paul George of the Indiana Pacers. When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke. So I want you to learn to spot a stroke fast. F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. I'm Paul George. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
So we're back, and I understand you're going to Germany. Are you going to be teaching there this time, or just a nice visit?
Actually, this is my first time visiting a Europe country, and then I'm really looking forward to it. But this time I'm not teaching, but I like to start teaching in Europe, and not only limited to Germany, but maybe in France, UK, Spain. I have been to Brazil and all over the United States teaching. So I like to expand the area of teaching, and especially I do teach Japanese acupuncture and the other specialty technique, like for the brain matters. But I will be start teaching. This is my new region. I will be teaching about the celestial acupuncture, how to bring the spirituality into acupuncture practice. I will be teaching, the first one is coming up in February. I'll be teaching in New York. And I also started writing a book about it. This book will be mainly for acupuncturists. I am an acupuncturist to train other acupuncturists so they can serve the people better. So that is my focus. So those are my future plans.
How can someone find you? How do they find you? Your website, your phone number? Where do you teach in Santa Monica, right at the Emperor's College?
Yes, I teach there, but I also see patients there. So I have two locations.
Oh, okay.
One in Santa Monica. It's at the Emperor's College. Emperor's College is emperorscollege.edu. And my office is called Maeda Acupuncture. So the web address is maedaAcupuncture.com. Maeda spelled M-A-E-D-A. Acupuncture spells ACUPUNCTURE.com. No space. And my phone number where people can contact me is 310-891-1111 or 310-938-7340. And so I'm in Santa Monica 2 days a week, and another 2 days I'll be in Torrance office. So that's where people can find me.
Wow. And they can contact you at that phone number if they want you to come teach at a different school, or talk about your celestial acupuncture, and right? They can get a hold of you, and okay.
Yes. Yeah.
This has just been the most fascinating interview. I suspect you're a fabulous teacher because you're fabulous on the interview.
Thank you. Thank you.
Really appreciate that, and I understood almost everything you were talking about. Not being very familiar with acupuncture. So anybody, I will be also posting his information on the Mary O'Malley Psychic Medium Facebook page. And so that'll be posted directly after the show and available. And, of course, you can always contact me, and I'll hook you up there. I thank you so much for being on the show. I've enjoyed every minute of it tonight.
Thank you very much for having me.
Well, I have a great time in Germany. Have a great holiday, and I look forward to talking to you soon.
Okay, thank you, and happy holidays to you and everybody out there.
Great. Okay, so anyhow, I wanted to talk to the listeners a little bit too about an experience I recently had. So I am a psychic and a medium, and I have clients that come to me for almost kind of a coaching. They know they need something, they're not quite sure what it is all the time, and I just, whatever the appropriate tool in my toolbox, I use that. And I recently had an appointment with a regular client, and so I went to her home, and which is unusual, but sometimes that happens. And so I think we were going to do a reading, and somewhere in the middle of everything, there was a specific issue she was working on. Any of you psychics out there may have had this. This has happened before, but it's very rare. I was suddenly in the middle of the reading, and I was kind of pulled out of myself into this column of light and shot directly to the Akashic records and right into the middle of a past life scene for my client. And so I was sharing that with her, and the issue was hyper alertness, and it was something she had missed in a past lifetime, some information that she had disregarded, and I think the next day or 2 days later, their palace was attacked and everybody was killed, and she had come away with this sense of having to be hyper alert and not miss anything. And so the solution was for her to just sincerely apologize. So she's in the middle of her apology, and Spirit's telling me to go to the bathroom. That's why the story is funny. So I go to the bathroom, and I'm being shown that I was the wife of the emir or whoever it was, and that all my children had been slaughtered in front of me in that attack. And I was told very clearly by Spirit that I needed to go in and formally accept her apology and offer forgiveness. So, and ask if you're still on the line, when we're working with Spirit, sometimes these healings are just so deep and almost overwhelming. I wanted to share this because it's such amazing things happen. And I'm also, one of my specialties in hypnosis is past life regression. I'm on the board of Past Life Research Institute. So normally that's how I visit a past life regression, is with my client in a hypnotic regression experience. So to have it in a psychic experience that big and overwhelming was certainly very, very different. And so, those of us that work in the metaphysical world, or in a world where we touch the so-called metaphysical, understand that things happen all the time, and that we're dealing with different entities. We're having to learn a whole new language in speaking with that realm, and they do different things for us. So if you've read up on me at all, you know that I have, besides healing guides, I have 3 that are archangels, and they work like a telephone switch box. they call in whoever, whatever entity is appropriate for that client to work with. So, but to be called into the Akashic Records was kind of new for me in the middle of a session. Since I hadn't done it on purpose, and so that was kind of fun. And kind of amazing. So if if you have questions about working with anybody in this field, call them, ask them questions, email them. What's the appointment like? What do you expect from me? A lot of people kind of walk in with the idea that they're going to come in, they're going to be healed, and that's all they have to do is write the check. And it really, a lot of times it doesn't work that way. There's usually work on your part that you have to do also. But Spirit is kind enough and gentle enough generally to point that out in such a way that it's easy to handle. So if you're wondering, about what we do, give us a call, ask us questions, do your research. And some of the best research is word of mouth. Honestly, if you know somebody that you trust and they're talking about a psychic or an acupuncture, doctor of acupuncture or a hypnotherapist or somebody that they've used that really, really helped them, then that's probably the first place you want to go, because you already know that person is good. So, I just want to say, be responsible for yourself. Be responsible for the amount of money you're going to spend, because people charge all different kinds of prices and have all different kinds of practices. And you just want to make sure that person's on the up and up, and that it's not going to, cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars for something that somebody else is charging you $250 for, because that happens. So you work within your budget and you work within your own belief systems. Most of the stuff works no matter what religion you are. I know a lot of people say, well, I'm Catholic, I can't do hypnosis. And so I actually talked to a priest, and he giggled, and he said, no, I actually have several hypnotherapists that I send people to. So I kind of got a kick out of that, and we're not working with the devil. We're working with your own energy, your own connection to the universe. So that's pretty cool. So, once again, I want to say happy holidays to all of you out there. Thank you so much for listening. I've had people liking my Facebook page, Mary O'Malley Psychic Medium, from Europe, from India. It's really cool to meet you all, and I really appreciate it. I want to remind you about that I have gift certificates, and on my website you can get those. They're pretty easy to use and to get and download. I now have a quickie, a $25 quickie, which is to answer one question and it lasts 6 to 7 minutes, and it's pretty affordable. So if you only have a quick question or you just want to get to know me, that's a good way to start. And once again, I thank you, Atsuki, for being a part of the show.
You're welcome.
If you have any
Thank
questions,
you so much.
Yeah, if you guys have any questions out there, get a hold of me or get a hold of him. And I think that's about all I have for tonight. Just keep warm, all of you, and pray for each other. Be kind to each other. Be gentle with people. Be gentle with yourselves. And just take care. Use your power for good. Thank y'all. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you for joining us for Shay Parker's Best of the Best. Be sure to tune in next week for more lively discussion topics. Have a great week, and don't forget to check out bestamericanpsychics.com in case you need some professional, ethical, and accurate psychic advice from the nation's best psychics. Until next week, take care of yourself.